Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Men You Love to podcast. I am Kat, your host, and today my guest is Jesse Fraser. He is just an overall amazing human being, I have to tell you. And he is a core vitality alignment coach, a restorative non surgical practitioner, a health and safety consultant, and a visionary of Valiant Wellness. Welcome, Jesse. Thank you so much for being here.
Kat, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me. Pleasure to be here.
I'm
Pleasure
so
to be.
happy that you can make time for me. I know you're a very, very busy man. And one of the things I didn't mention when I read your bio is that you are a blended family coach. And that is
Yes.
actually one of the first things I saw on your Facebook profile that made me want to talk to you.
Mm, thank you. Yeah, it's huge. It's a life that I live as well. And it's I've been able to learn and maneuver and walk through many of the things that I feel that are troubling men in blended families today. And that's huge.
It is huge. And because of the divorce rates, there are so many. And I mean, I'm so happy that people are finding love again and getting into relationships, but there's so many blended families. And I, for one, haven't been in one. But I had a partner that came into my family for a few years. But a lot of my friends and the people I know are in blended families. And I mean,
Yeah,
it's beautiful. There's so much love. There's so many bonus parents, but it definitely comes with its struggles.
it definitely does. There's uh there's an old cliche that I grew up with. And I think it was of my parents' era where they called them broken families. And I was always quite curious about what that was. And little did I know down the road that I would be in a blended family myself.
Right.
I like to think of us as the chosen ones to be able to resolve the generational trauma as it would be.
I love that. And you're right. I think the stigma used to be that these families are broken and there's so much, so many hardships and there's so many complications, but it can also be so beautiful. And I mean, how lucky are the kids to have so many bonus parents
Yeah,
around to love them?
it's it's remarkable really because they get this added nuance of resilience because there's just so many little beautiful things that come about the within the struggle, and that part is something that is an opportunity to talk about, I believe. Yeah,
Do you just want to share your initial experience of being a bonus dad and how that has evolved over the years?
yeah, absolutely, Kat. I'd love to be able to talk about that. I have learned to reframe uh, my position as a father as a bonus dad because when I started learning about step parents and stepfathers, I was told by a close colleague of mine. He said, "Hey, you know what? You're a bonus father. You're not a stepdad. No one is stepped on you. No one, you're not to be stepped on. Neither are your children." And I loved that because it was able to reframe this in a way where it removed the connotations of the past. And I was able to move through that and heal a bit in that. So my wife and I, my partner and I have been together for a little more than 5 years. We met in the pandemic era. That during that time, similar views, and just got together when things were really starting to um, starting to change,
Hmm.
and they changed in a way where I really was concerned about not only my mental health but my physical health. And she had a daughter, and I knew that my daughter needed a sibling. And there's something within me that I knew that I wanted her to be able to have a cohort. And I also wanted somebody that had similar interests in health and well-being that I did. Because if I'm going to be able to go the length of life and vitality, I want somebody to be able to go that length with me. I want somebody to enjoy what I'm going through and what I'm doing. And it's been that. I mean, there's been heaps of moments where I've gone and said to myself, "What am I doing?" And then the moments within that and going, well, I'm doing this because it's not only for me. This is bigger than me now. The blended family is something of which I believe bonus dad, stepdad's been poo-pooed for a long time. That old aloof guy. And I'm in it to prove that I'm not that.
I love that. And I think there's a difference in how people kind of not treat, but maybe are cautious with stepfathers versus stepmothers. Would you say
Yeah,
that that's right? And I feel
yes,
like
there
there's
is.
like an extra step that you as men have to deal with by coming into a woman's life and into her children's lives.
Yeah,
Takes
there's
extra work, doesn't it?
it does. Like we deal with one of the top 10 issues, which is loyalty and divided attention. And that is something of which you speak of right there, because their relationship with their mother existed before our commencement of the relationship. So they have that history, they have that rapport. And we don't just earn that respect right there in that moment and everything's peachy. No, we've got to engage. We've got to, prove in a way that we're going to be the ones that are going to be consistent, present, and have fun. Like we're going to be there to have fun with them.
Yeah.
And
You
when we
got to
do
earn that
that,
spot,
you got to earn it. Got
right?
to earn it. We just don't get it handed to us like a batch. It's not instant either. But the work that I've been doing, that I've noted within that, and I mean, I had my moments with it. I struggled. I went, this is harder than I thought, but it's been the most rewarding, Cat, because I'm involved in it. My piece is within this foundation of which I'm building. And there's so many things that I'm gleaning from my own work, my own research with my clients, that I'm able to bring some broad perspective on and be able to do that bird's eye view and go, I see what's happening in many of the other families. And I want to be able to show them that they're just a little off the needle. I mean, you take the book, um, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. There's one of his stories that he notes of a man who set up a mine, who was mining for gold. And through and throughout, he spent lots of money, invested tons in the machinery and time, and his family within that as well. And he had to give it up because the gold, the stream of gold that he was invested in, that he thought was there, wasn't. He sold it at such a low price, a rock bottom price. But this guy that picked up all the equipment and the site and whatever else. He he hired a geologist, and the geologist said, "No, you're just 3 feet off of the seam. You're just 3 feet off of where you should be." Little did that guy know that the original owner had to move the needle, had to go over, maneuver his machine just 3 feet. He'd hit the gold seam again. That's what I feel like men are doing in relationships these days, is they're just a little off. And if they knew that there was a little tweak here, and they could talk about a lot of the things in the morning that would help program the subconscious of not only their minds but of their partners as well, that it would actually help bring about some more stability and safety in the relationship. That's all it is. But
Right.
there's moving pieces to it.
I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing it.
No worries.
One of the things I hear from the people that I know that are in blended families is um, just the difficulty of welcoming someone into your family or being the person that's being welcomed. And the family gets to welcome one person and work on one relationship. So your wife had one new relationship, which was you. Her daughter
Hmm.
had one new relationship, which was you. But
Hmm.
for you, you had to build two separate connections with two different people at the same time.
Hmm.
I find that to be one of just the most um, not difficult, but I find challenging things about being the person to join a blended family is just the amount of time that it takes and effort and energy and presence, because it doesn't just happen on its own, that you have to dedicate literally every single day to maintaining and growing these two brand new relationships. And if there's more kids, then there's a new relationship for every child.
Yeah, it is just that. And I mean, I go back to loyalty and divided attention. I mean, those kids as well will have relationships with their biological fathers in that precede me. So it's not competition. I mean, what I do is I add something different. I add something different to the relationship with them in their lives. But what is truly unique about this is that I can plug in a whole new way because I can see opportunities within that child, within my bonus daughter, where I go, huh, I can really help her in a way where her dad isn't able to do that and be like a teammate for him and look at it from that lens because there's also this cliche that that I've got to be like we've got to be at blows with one another. We've got to lock horns. We've got to hate each other, and that's just not true. It's just it. We don't have to do that. I mean, if you look at cats and dogs in a house, how do they live in harmony with the owner? I mean, sometimes they don't. They have their issues, but they don't have to hate one another, and that's rightly so with the biological father. But there will be with what I notice within some families is that loyalty does rest with the biological father. So it's going to take some extra effort in my own research as well as my own life to be able to be present and engaged and there within um, their lives because they have a it's almost like this part of them that feels like there will be some betrayal or they won't be able to be loyal to their biological father because how dare they befriend and do things that are fatherly daughterly like with or with son with another man. And I mean it doesn't being a protector and a provider and a biological father, it doesn't sit right with me sometimes with some of the things that are said with my daughter's bonus father, but I work through those. I mean, they exist; they're still there, but it's all in part of the interpretation and how we work through it. Like I can let that stress bother me, and it has its own cascading effect within my body, and it stresses me out, and that's the vibration I send it to the world. Or I can go, you know what? I'm choosing to resolve this within my being because this has nothing to do with my child. It has nothing to do with their child either out there. And this is part of that with other men in blended families as well. Like why stress your own system out over something that can be resolved within yourself about whatever that is.
Um, So I was just blown away. You are also, so your daughter has a bonus dad. I did not know that.
Yeah, she
That's
does.
amazing. That's just full circle. And I think it makes you better at both roles, the dad and the
Yeah,
bonus dad, just being
yeah,
both sides of it. And I think that the way stepfathers are received in the family or with the actual father, the biological father, depends on so many things. It depends on the relationship between the partners that had like the parents, the biological parents, right? It depends on how long it's been. It depends on one of them is holding on to hope and one of them is still resentful. It depends
yeah.
on, their egos, their just so many different factors, I think. But I think that both dads loving the daughter, they should realize they're on the same team. And I don't know if you see those, but I see the weddings now where both dads get to walk the daughter down the aisle, where like one of the dads grabs the other dad and pulls them, and then they walk the daughter down the aisle. And I think it's amazing because I'm seeing that shift in men recognizing that, hey, we love this little girl. She gets to be loved and protected by two men. How lucky is she?
Yeah.
How blessed are we to both have her as our
It,
daughter? So like I'm seeing that shift.
yes. I've seen that shift too. This family that I'm in right now, well, this blended family is not my first blended family. I had another one previous to this, and what you just spoke about is exactly what I saw exist within my previous partner and her ex-husband, and they were able to forge a bond of friendship where they were able to allow me to be a part of my bonus daughter at that time, her life. And what I thought was really truly unique was that this little girl, when we had parent teacher, wanted me and her daddy to go to parent teacher. And I like at first it startled me. It freaked me out. Um, and I went through a period of denial, like, no, this isn't really happening. But then I really said, I'm truly touched that this child feels that I'm at a level of which she feels that I'm a really like I'm more than a resource. I'm valued as a parent in her life. And it was really cool to be able to have that because she had three parents at her parent teacher several times.
Wow. What a lucky girl.
Very,
Can I ask you,
yeah,
so what happens after the relation if the relationship falls apart? How does that how does that work? And I guess that's up to each individual couple to decide if there's still contact because it's you build this relationship and you have this love and now you're a bonus dad and now what are you supposed to just cut that off? And I know so many men that grieve the loss of the children that were not even theirs so much more than the relationship with their partner. And
yeah,
it's so hard for them because then their partner moves on and has another partner and they're just kind of left because they're not the dad. The
yeah,
dad still gets to be there. And then
yeah,
when they have a new partner, it's like, what do you do?
yeah. I will answer that with it depends. It depends on the relationship. It depends on the parents. It depends on how far they're willing to be able to, um, and flexibility isn't the word. It's more of how are they willing to be able to adapt and get through their own egos to be able to say, hey, this is for the love of the child. Because the children, they all they know is to love. That's what they know. We as parents and adults, we get in their way sometimes when it comes to you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm not saying that kids, need structure. They absolutely do. They need struggle. They need a lot of that. But um, it's I mean, it's near and dear to me. That subject is near and dear to me because I truly believe that that my daughter and my bonus daughter, within that relationship, they had a relationship themselves. So snapping that off, disconnecting that, I mean, there was we had the pandemic, we had the that lapse of time in there, but I truly believe that it's for the benefit of the children to be able to see resolve so that they can get on with that in their life. Because if I'm a person that is going to withhold that relationship from them, what kind of resentment shows up in their life later? And me and as an adult, I've got to get past that. I mean, my issue of of not being in that relationship anymore has nothing to do with my daughter's relationship with her daughter. They're autonomous. I mean, it it stinks that this the conversations and the communication are different now because of the relationships, and they begin to know that over time. But it doesn't mean, in my opinion, that the children need to be um, completely cut off from that unless it's detrimental to the families and the relationships as they are.
I agree with that. And I think it also depends on the ages of the children as well, because,
Yeah.
right, if they're really young, but and then if they're older, I think they build those bonds and those are their siblings and they don't know any different. And they're watching us and they're learning about marriages and relationships and they're learning about closure and being compassionate even when things don't work out and they end up not being the way that we thought that they would.
Mhm.
Um, and just the relationship that I was in for 2.5 years, it was the only man that ever lived with me and my three children.
Mhm.
And because it also happened over COVID, we spent a lot of time together and he built relationships with all three of them. And I saw how tiring that was for him. And I saw how hard he was trying. And when we split up, I I said, like, you can talk to my children anytime you want. We live in the same town. And because my children were like late teens, I left it up to them to maintain a relationship with him. Right. And there was a period of time where I don't think they talked. And they may not talk regularly, but I know that when my daughter went to Africa and she booked her flight, I know that she called him that day and she told him. Actually, she texted him and he called her right away and he was so happy. And it just made me so happy that they still have that connection and they still care about each other and they may not talk all the time,
Mm.
but I know that if she ever needed something or if she ever wanted like to talk to him, that he would be there and vice versa. So it just makes me happy knowing that their bond didn't have to end and their friendship didn't have to end because our relationship did.
Oh, that's so touching. And I really like that he had called her after knowing that that's what she did. Um, I have a little story like that of my own as well because I truly resonate with that as a dad and as a bonus dad. We really feel. I mean, earlier on in my safety career, one of the things that I noted was, talking to people about safety is like talking about religion. It's it's tough, and not everybody wants to talk about it. And
They all
but
have
what
their own ideas of what it should be.
Well, exactly. We have our own beliefs. What is this? What is that? What is this structure? So, what I boiled this part of my constitution, my framework as a dad down to was, and this is what I came up with in my career was, if I can't change things, then I want to have a profound effect. And I feel like that's what you had there with your daughter's stepfather. Because and it probably lit him up just to know that he had that type of effect on her to be able to book a trip and go like that, and that to know that he was thought of after that. That's amazing. That's better than the best restaurant tip as a server. I mean, that's the best tip of the day. Um, my my bonus daughter from my previous relationship, she highly intelligent, and in school she was bored. So one of the things that my daughter and I do is we speak in French to each other. And I'm an Anglophone, but I really enjoy the culture, the French culture, and I immersed myself in it. But I had nobody to really give this gift to. And then when my daughter came along, this is what we forged together. In this relationship, in this previous blended family that I was in with my bonus daughter, um, what she needed was a little more of a challenge. And being that her mom was of French descent as well, actually Acadian, the language has diminished over the years. And what we did was she wanted to learn French, like her bonus, my daughter, like her bonus sister. And she speaks excellent French to this day. She we moved her into a French school. Like that's what she wanted to do. So knowing that I had that effect on her is a huge gift. It's a huge, huge gift. So I love your story of that. Thank you.
So your love and your relationship changed her life forever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's that. It is
That's so
just that.
impactful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah, it made me cry that day when she told me, and she told me, yeah, like I texted him and he called me right away because he had known that that had been her dream, and she wanted to let him know that I'm gonna cry, that she accomplished her dream. And he,
Yeah.
yeah, and he was so happy for her, and they just did that all on their own. So it's just beautiful to see.
Mm.
But I know when we had our initial call, you told me there was 10 distinct struggles that you focus around your work with men and
Yeah.
blended families. Do you want to just talk about a few of the main ones
Yeah,
and
I can
give
I
us a
can
bit of
talk
a,
about definitely talk about that.
yeah,
That the top three that we deal with is not the first one is not knowing who we are. We come out of our first families and you know there's a part of us that really knows that we've got to forge another relationship with somebody else. But then that piece of us knowing that there might be some sort of betrayal to our kids, but for their survival, for our legacy, and for our ability to be able to journey through life, we know that we've got to do that somehow. And so that's yeah, not knowing who we are. And then when we get into the blended family, it's the pressure of the partnership itself. So this is the storming part of the analogy, right? You storming, norming, performing, and oh, there's another one. It's not coming to me at the moment. However, partnership pressure, the marriage and partnership pressure. It's and it's back and forth. Are we giving enough to one another? Are we giving enough to the relationship? Which one of my coaches, previous coaches, what he would talk about would be the third aspect of the relationship, or the third person entity. Dwayne Clausen would talk about that, and I think that originally came from Tim Roy. But what he talked about was that what are you paying into the relationship as a whole? Are you going out on date nights? Are you are you doing the subtle things like the nice notes in the morning? And I mean, I've got to get back to that as well. But are we doing the things that are going to cash in for the relationship, not just the individual things? I mean, it's a gift. I give my wife now the gift of myself to her, and she gives that of me. And that is that is core to our relationship, our health, and maintaining ourselves to be able to have the bandwidth for one another and our kids. But it's something else to be able to do that for the relationship in itself. You know, how do you maintain us as a whole? And what I say to my wife is, there is no us without you, because there's a you and us. There is no us without you. And it's true. And then the third biggie is parenting and discipline. Parenting and discipline challenges. I mean, one child might have a different bedtime that preceded the relationship, that when you come into this one, that's that's the standard. That's what the child knows. But now we've got a child of the same age, or maybe, you know, a younger child or younger children, and we're talking about bedtimes, and one parent can't get on on the level with the other. And they've also got another arrangement with the previous parent on that's what they settled as what the time would be. So now you've got to renegotiate a whole new.
two households.
That's right.
Well,
Like
three.
what yeah, three. What's acceptable in this house, the other house, and you know what's acceptable overall. So yeah, those are the top three things that we deal with in blended families. And it really starts with us as men. Like we've really got to know who we are. Because if we don't know who we are, the relationship doesn't know who it is, or what it is. Our wives, our spouses, they don't know who we are. Our children don't know who we are. And then our our partners don't know who they are or what their role is in the house. And the kids echo that as well. They don't feel safe. No one feels safe. No one feels heard.
Right.
And that's where the bickering, the nattering, and the things start is within those things. So it's really knowing thyself. And it's difficult because when you come from the first family, that relationship, how how do you begin to start knowing who you are? Like, I know who I am leaving that relationship, and that's what I don't want. But now I'm in this relationship. Who am I? How do I show up? And it's really, for me, it's been about finding my purpose. And as soon as I found my purpose, I was able to lead. And as soon as I found, or excuse me, how did it go? My role within the family, my role within the family gave me purpose. And then my purpose gave me the ability to lead it in a way that is meaningful to all of us. And that is clarity on identity and role and who we are as men. And that's something that we've lost. But we're really beginning to see that as a society again, is what we've lost is now an opportunity to get back into that, which is going to redefine who we are. And we get to bring in what is working, what didn't work, and forge some new stuff in there too, create some new stuff.
Thank you for sharing that. Just those 3 points alone already sound overwhelming, and they
Mm,
sound really complicated. They sound like a lot of work. Um, and just some thoughts I had about number two. Um, it's something that, I hear all the time, when it comes to relationships, and that's like the biological parent. Often the woman, as soon as she becomes a mother, prioritizes her children
yeah,
and disconnects from her husband. And now he's like number three, number four, number five, depending on however many children there is. And I know they did a study in the 80s where a woman was pregnant and she was faced with a decision of having a baby that was going to be healthy, or her life was in jeopardy during the pregnancy, and would she choose herself or would she choose her unborn child? And like almost 100% of women chose the unborn child. When
mm,
the men were faced with that choice, they chose their way.
mm,
And I think that's just such a reflection of our priorities. And I understand that unconditional mother bond and their DNA being in our body. And now we're starting to understand all of that. I completely understand. But a lot of the times I find that women have a lot of guilt, and they think that once they become a mother, their priority when they're in the marriage is their children. And it's like, without your husband, you guys don't have a family. You are the backbone of your family. It's the parents, it's the couple that made the children. They are the backbone of the family. If they are happy and they are in love and they are thriving, their children will be happy no matter what.
yes,
Because that is literally the most important thing, and their children will see them love each other, and that will teach them everything they need to know about having successful relationships when they leave the house. So I'm wondering, I was putting myself in a position of being, let's say, a bonus mom or having someone come in with a child into my family, and I'm thinking, you're trying to maintain a relationship with your child and make sure that they're okay, because they could be sensitive. They could be having some feelings around these new relationships and feeling insecure because now you have two new people in your life. And like, where does that put me? You have a new partner and you're actively trying to build a new relationship with a bonus child.
yeah.
That's pulling your love and your heart and your loyalties and everything into so many different directions. And I wanted to hear from you, like, and I think I know the answer, but do you agree that the most important relationship in that situation is also the couple, even though it may feel like you should focus on your children, that it's always the two adults?
It's got to be the two adults.
It's got to
It
be.
it has to be.
Great.
For the success of the kids, they have to know symmetry. They have to know harmony. They've got to know what love looks like. If we continue down the road where our loyalty rests with our kids and our bonus dad is second every time, then our kids begin to know, Kat, that that's the choice in society that we give to men. And if we want, if we truly want to, as men, have or not only have the opportunity, but we want to be able to be providers, we want to be able to be purposeful, we've got to be able to go, okay, I've got to be able to step into a role where I can give safety to children and my spouse. I like the previous story that you gave as well, where the women chose the baby every time and the men chose
Right.
the spouse, the wife. I look at that as a beautiful opportunity for men to step into. She wants, she's going to choose the baby. Get her to choose you. This is where we got to go. We can't say, oh, it's too late.
Yeah, too
I
bad.
guess there's nothing to do. No, she wants you to step into that. She wants you to be the first choice. She doesn't want to have to make the first choice her child, her unborn child. She wants a man to be able to 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 look at and to worship in a way, to love, to see as a figure, a powerful figure that is going to be able to look after her long after the kids are gone. And survivability, what the legacy, what this is going to build down the road. Step into it. So that's how I look at that, as a beautiful opportunity that men get to. We're on the precipice of that. So you're right with the family that and the relationships and the dynamics and the layers that you just discussed. There's going to be some friction. There's going to be a lot of friction. I mean, her relationships. I mean, how do we deal with this as men? I was just talking about this the other day with a colleague. Um, it's a real thing. Well, in Tinder profiles, what do we got? My kids will always come first, but I'm open to dating and possibly a relationship. But my kids come first. How do we deal with that?
See?
Step up. We step up as men. Yeah, your kids are going to be number one. I am going to be number one someday. That's the goal. That is the goal. And I want her to be able to choose that. I'm sure if my wife were here at the moment, she would be like, "Yes, you go." That's exactly it. Because she's on Team Jesse too. Like
Yeah,
Jesse,
she would be cheering you on.
exactly. I
Yeah,
mean, she wants to be chosen.
right.
You want to be chosen.
Mhm.
I mean, that's that's it. So, and the kids got to see, get to see. I mean, they'll see the friction. And there's some things that we really can't hide in the dynamics of a blended family in those relationships. But the beautiful gift that we can give them is the resolve, the follow through. Yes, we have this disagreement. Yes, we have this fight, but we still love you. And this is how we took care of it. And they don't got to know all the details, but they just got to see the resolution because otherwise we dump their trauma, our trauma on them. And guess what? They deal with it. I want it to end at me. I want them to be able to see, and even if they do end up in a situation down the road in a relationship where they get in a similar situation, they know what the evidence, they've seen evidence of this.
Mhm.
They know how to resolve it. They know it's possible.
Right. I think we're both doing the work so that our kids don't have to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And we really, I'm really excited about it because I mean, I'm excited about my life in a way now, Kat, where it's meaningful, it's purposeful. Um, and I love that every day for me, when I come into work and I'm working at this part, is to reframe work as play. Because when I look at saying the word work, and I'm not saying that I don't enjoy the connotations and oh my gosh, but I don't really see this as work anymore. Like it is fulfilling. It is a struggle sometimes. It is, I mean, the last few nights have been, oh my goodness, because I've had a lot going on. but it's been purposeful. It's been lovely, and it's really rewarded me with more bandwidth and knowing myself even more. Okay, I can do that too. I can add that many more things to what I'm already doing and be successful with it. And I mean, that's what I really, really want men to see these days in blended families. I know of a few guys that I would really love to sit down with and go, hey, I know where you are. You're feeling overwhelmed. And it's shutting down your nervous system in a way where we get this fawn and freeze thing. And the fawn and freeze thing, how do we cope with it? We scroll. Or some men are out there um, surfing porn, or they're in other relationships, even in a blended family. They're in
Yeah.
um, these emotional
Distractions.
affairs. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
distractions.
Online.
Yes, and or they're buying things.
Hmm.
You know, there's a switch inside them that doesn't feel adequate. That feels like they need something to be more. That's the dopamine dump.
Right.
So the overwhelm in the nervous system is that that place of reprogramming oneself. Like that's what we do as that's what I'm seeing a lot of men do is being in that old place of overwhelm and not sure what to do. And it's that purgatory of indecisiveness that just keeps going. But how do we get out of it? We've got to make a decision. It's got to be about us.
And get help from you.
Yeah, call a
Right?
brother.
That's
Call
right.
call a guy and say, "Hey, I want to go for a walk. I've got a few ideas."
Yes.
Um, the wonderful part about what I do, Kat, is the men want connection. And it's not really like intimacy is a byproduct of that as well when it comes to women and relationships and whatnot. But we really want connection. They really want to know that they are a connective piece in the world they live in. And I was I was a part of a brotherhood, and I learned so much about myself as a rite of passage. I walked through a 30-day challenge, and it was like it was there was a couple of days that I almost quit, but I kept going. And what I got to the end of it, when I got to the end of it, I learned that even in the like the little arguments that I had with my wife about time and not getting it right and my time management, it was my time management. I learned that I was able to hold her at so much more of a higher level when she was upset than I was before. Before I would get triggered. So what am I talking about when I talk about all this? I'm talking about my ability to be able to hold people, to hold other brothers,
Mhm.
and to hold that connection because the missing piece that we have as men today is that connective piece to be able to be with other men and be uncomfortable in some moments because there's a few things we do as men in our world. We challenge each other. We're meant to. That's part of the instinctual process of, where do we rank amongst other men? But we also we learn from other men. We learn, about ourselves. They serve as a reference point. And I truly believe that, and you and I were talking about it at one point as well, that there's not enough men that have been initiated to know their full capacity or even, come close to it. And being out with a number of men in a group circle of men makes men uncomfortable. It should,
Sure does.
but to the point where it just shuts them off and overwhelm. And then they're back in that purgatory of indecisiveness again. But it's not have been there enough with their dad.
Mm-hmm.
That servitude that their dad could give them wasn't there. And then, their relationships with their own brothers it wasn't, they weren't loved in that way. And I know when I joined this group of men that I was in, it backfilled the love that I needed from my dad and my brother that I always needed. And it really helped me see that I was an integral piece in other men's lives. And it was amazing because now I was able to not only hold men, but call other men out. Because there are men that'll be out there. I talked to one the other day, and he was upset that I called him out, and he gave me the middle finger online. And I just said, I like what you're doing, but do you have a good group of men around you? Because I still see some victim mindset in what you've just written. And then there was that spiritual bypassing again, right? There's this bypassing of who he was. And but we get to do that with other men. Like that's a thing that we get to do. That's a healthy masculinity, is calling each other out because we truly see something better in that man and we want him to step up into it.
That was so inspiring and beautiful. Thank you. And I honestly want to thank you and honor you for the work that you're doing because you're not only working with the masculine and bringing the masculine back in a healed form, you're also working with fathers. And I think there's never been a time where fathers and men were more needed than they are right now. Like I truly feel that in my soul. And
Mm,
that's why I'm committed to working with men. And fathers play such an important role that I don't think most people realize, and I don't think a lot of fathers realize how important they are um, in that legacy, and not just the businesses and the legacy in that sense, because I think some men just focus on that. But I
yeah.
mean, the legacy that will live on inside their children and their grandchildren, masculinity and safety and compassion and all those things that you were just talking about. And I know for myself that if I had had a different father, then my whole life would have been different.
Mm,
And so part of my devotion to men and me wanting to see a better world for them is for them to also know that they are important. And it's time that women realize that the fathers are just as important as the mothers, and that when their children are born, that man should still be the most important person in that relationship, and to stop just dismissing men. Because if we're doing that in the original marriages, then we're also doing that in the blended families, because I've seen it happen as well, because that becomes even more difficult. So I
mhm.
think that men have to step up. And I think that women also have to realize the value, the importance, the sacredness of men and their role on earth and their role in our community, our society, and our children's lives. I think both genders have some work to do when it comes to that.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. And I want to commend you on your willingness as well as tenacity to see men in a different light. I truly feel like that's a huge gift to us men to be able to have a woman like yourself see the value in what we bring to the world and to create a container and a podcast to be able to showcase that, Kat. So thank you.
Thank you so much. If you had just one thing to say to a man that is considering becoming part of a blended family, what is the number one thing besides calling you that he
Mm,
should do? And then if you can tell the listeners how to find you, and I'll be posting all your information and links in the notes of the podcast. But if you just want to tell them where they can find you.
certainly. The one thing that I would tell the man that was considering a blended family is this will create a whole new you. And if you truly believe that this is the decision for you, allow yourself to feel that you will become a 10x man. You will be unrecognizable from the man that you are today, because committing to this work is not easy, but it is the most rewarding.
That's beautiful.
And to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on my website, thevaliantlifestyle.com. I have a YouTube channel as well, the Valiant Lifestyle, at the Valiant Lifestyle. I'm by email too, info at thevaliantlifestyle.com. And I you can get a hold of me on Facebook too, as well as Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm on
And you're on
Facebook
LinkedIn.
and
This,
I'm on LinkedIn.
I'll post all those links for you guys,
Thank
but for
you.
sure, get a hold of him. Jesse, thank you so much for having this important conversation with me. And will you come back and have another one with me? I know at least one, I know a lot more topics that we can discuss, but there's some other stuff that I want to dive into that you were telling me about.
I would be honored to come back.
Oh, thank you. Well, this was so amazing. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you for
Mm,
sharing your wisdom with us and yourself.
Thank you. Thank you too.